Reports from administration. A, Corporate Services Report Number Clerk 2013-05, Retail Business Holidays Act. Looking for a mover of the recommendation. Councillor Baker. Supported by Councillor Bondi. Any questions?
Question.
Councillor Baker.
Through your worship, just so the public knows, the next stage on this is that this is going to November 8th. Is there going to be a public session here, or maybe I can get some clarity on that?
18.
Is it the 18th November? Sorry?
Through your worship, it's November 18th prior to our council meeting. Yes, it will be here.
Okay, good. And so this particular act is looking for 9 holidays in there?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Anything further? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. B, Planning Report Number 2013-36, Harrow Center Community Improvement Plan Enhancement, Harrow Center Ward 4. Recommendation to Council for information. Motion received by Councillor Bondi, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? Councillor Baker.
Real quick, through your worship, question. At this point in time, when the public session for this is this Wednesday, is it open for consideration of even additional footprint in terms of the area? I know there's been a couple of businesses approach me looking at another part they'd like to be included in this. So is that at that point in time that we'll hear these inputs? Through your worship to Jeff, possibly.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I mean, basically this is to present the enhanced program to the public, and if the public wants to see changes, this is their opportunity to make those statements. So if one of the issues is expansion of the border, that's fine too.
Just a follow-up. So will they have an opportunity to present their case at that public session?
Yes, sir. The public session is basically, it's a public meeting, so I'll be giving a PowerPoint presentation about what the CFP is all about, what the proposed boundaries are, and then it'll be open for public discussion at that point. So that's when they make their case, yes.
Thanks, and I just want to make a point that the advertising has been out for this, and the Harrow Chamber of Commerce has done an additional push to contact all the businesses, so you'll have some good attendance, I believe, on Wednesday night.
Thank you, sir. All in favor? Motion carries. C, Planning, Report Number 2013-35, Applicant 1552906, Ontario Limited, Agent Remo Valente. Looking for a mover for the recommendation. Deputy Mayor Malash, Councillor Baker. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. D, Planning, Report Number 2013-37, Essex Center Streetscape and Silo District Plan, Essex Ward 1. Support. Councillor Vokes moves, supported by Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Over here, next page. Correspondence. Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration. We're looking for receipt of the presentation and concurrence. Deputy or Councillor Baker, supported by Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Recycling Council of Ontario, looking for Waste Reduction Week, October the 21st to the 27th. Councillor Baker and Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. And also the Ontario Lung Association, looking for declaration for November be Lung Month. Deputy Mayor Malash, Councillor Baker. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Committee meeting minutes. Committee of Adjustment, September the 3rd, 2013. Moved by Councillor Baker, supported by Councillor Baker Bowman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion's carried. Mural Committee, April 17th, 2013. Looking for a motion to receive the minutes. Councillor Bondi, supported by Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Communities in Bloom Committee, August 24th, 13th minutes. There is a recommendation. In Resolution CIB 2013-08-043 that the committee requests council's approval and support for the annual Legacy Tree Program and school contest in order that the committee can continue to educate and involve youth, as well as providing tree coverage for the local grade schools, and are willing to participate in each event, and that the committee's annual budget provide for a line item to purchase trees in an amount of not to exceed $2,500. Be referred to budget deliberation. Councillor Scott moves, supported by Councillor Bondi. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Bylaws. A bylaw number 1258 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the October 21st, 2013 regular meeting of October 21st, 2013 regular meeting of Corporation of the Town of Essex. Councillor Baker moves, supported by Councillor Bondi. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. BE bylaw number 1259 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a lease agreement between the Harrow Environmental Corporation, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Corporation of the Town of Essex, and Richard Dunn and Harrow Solar Inc. for part of lots 6 through 8, Plan 202. Deputy Mayor Malash moves, supported by Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Financial, the September check register of September 30th, 2013. Deputy Mayor Malash moves, supported by Councillor Baker. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Council discussions. Councillor Bondi, notice of motion, polling station Harrow Center on election day 2014. Ms. Bondi?
Thank you. I don't know, we don't have to stay all night debating this. I just want to have a serious discussion with council about having a polling station in Ward 4 on the election day 2014. I think vote by mail is awesome, and I think we're almost there, but I think we're still in a little bit of a transition, and some people haven't got around to adjusting to the vote by mail process. And I know that we collect our voter information through MPAC, and it just seemed like the last election, it was, for me personally anyways, it was about getting people aware of the process, and the election really wasn't about the issues. So I'm hoping that we have an election in 2014 that focuses on the issues and not so much the process. And I think that before council has a discussion on this, I think we should go to our clerk and see her thoughts before we proceed. But at the end of the day, I hope that council in some way endorses a polling station in Harrow Centre for our residents in the southern half of our municipality, for our Colchester residents, even some McGregor residents, if they want to, go there and if they have problems with their ballots. And I just think if you're in Harrow or Colchester and you don't have a ballot, you're not registered, or you've ripped up your ballot, or you've just moved into the area, there's really, it's a 1 hour trip to get to Essex Centre to vote, and that's a lot. We're talking $10, $15 in gas money, and to me that just isn't so accessible. So I'm just interested in everybody else's thoughts, especially our clerk, since it would be, it's going to be on her recommendation as well. So thank you. That's all I have to say.
Councillor Baker?
Thank you. You know what, I'm glad you brought this up, because during the last election, I think, observed this this issue, and it's exactly what you say. Those who, and I know that especially the first year, or the first time we did this was, there was a little bit of wrinkles. I think it went well reasonably, but there were a lot of people who were not registered and had to come to Essex and to register, so they voted. So it's really not about the mailing portion, it's about the portion of those individuals who still have not been appropriately registered, and so we can assist them. Traveling to Essex was an issue. for those individuals, and that, could it affect the vote count? Certainly, but it's about accommodating too. We are one municipality, and we have, two of the major centers in terms of our urban areas. And I think we need to go back to administration to look at what the cost would be for this, but we do need to consider this, and I'll look forward to, if this is a motion, I'll look forward to administration coming back with some kind of comments and some cost relative around this.
Okay, we have a few comments from our clerk. Cheryl?
My first question to Councillor Bondi would be, are you talking about vote by mail alone or vote by mail and also ballots, paper ballots? Because the combination of the two will not work. Through paper ballots, we would have to go back to the old-fashioned way. If someone comes in and votes, we take them off the voters list. With the vote by mail ballot, that's done automatically through a scanner, and it comes through. The voter turnout, for council's information, in 2006 was 48.4%, and that was the traditional paper ballots. In 2010, it was 52.55% with vote by mail. I have a rough cost of estimate for 2 personnel to be there that day, 2 laptops and tabulators. It's at least preliminary costing is $6,400 extra. What my director and I have been talking about this along with the CAO, and we did propose that possibly 2 Saturdays, or Saturday, not the Saturday prior to election, 2 Saturdays prior to the election, we would have staff set up in the Harrow Community Center room if we could, for anybody from that area to come in. Any questions, if any ballots, they can check the voters list. That's another option that we can give to council too. As far as 2 polling stations on election day, I do not support that, and I will not recommend that to council that we do that. We have one to have the control of anything going on that day. We thought that maybe McGregor Center may want something too. We could look at doing something that prior to election. The ballots go out 3 weeks prior to the election day, and the Saturday prior to the election is not an option because staff and I are at the headquarters getting ready for Monday's election. So that's just for council's thoughts.
Councilor Baker?
Thank you, Your Worship. So, Cheryl, the ballot, or the polling station that was set up in Essex Center at the Town Hall on election day was for the purpose of what?
Anybody who wanted to come in, drop off their ballots, anybody who didn't have a ballot could come in and vote. We tried to encourage through as much communication prior to in our handouts that we had for all of the candidates in our tax notices. We tried to promote on our website, promote the vote by mail, but still on election day we had people coming in saying they didn't know we were gone to vote by mail. I think they received their ballots in the mail, didn't know what they were, and threw them out.
And that's a danger. So, having said that then, why would we not be able to do the same thing in Essex Center the week before, and then have a complete mail-in ballot on the election day, so that way staff is freed up? If you're going to do the week before session or an area in Harrow and one in McGregor, let's do it all at the same time, because I'm not sure I'm understanding, because it was set up in Essex for those who didn't have ballots, those who had problems, but we still have problems in Harrow too.
That's correct, but those problems were addressed by staff. We were dealing with those throughout the whole election process. I'm not talking about having paper ballots prior to the election day. It would be totally vote by mail. But any questions, anybody had questions and needed help with anything, we would set up those dates so those people could come in and speak to staff directly.
You know, and I completely understand that, but on election day, we had a polling station at Town Hall in Essex Center, and it was for those people who had issues and wanted to come into the polling station. Is that correct?
That's correct, but people can come in starting with 3 weeks prior to that. When their ballots are mailed out, they can start coming into the office at that time. They do not have to wait till that day. As far as polling stations, Any other municipalities that had vote by mail, on election day, they have one polling station, and it's at their municipal building only.
Okay, so, and I understand, but what we're saying is on election day, we can have one in Essex, but not in any place, one polling station. Is that right? Correct?
That's correct.
But yet, the week before, I guess, you're going to have an information session. Is that what you're suggesting for Harrow Center? I'm not sure I understand.
Not an information session, Councillor Baker. It would be an opportunity for people to come in. They could bring their ballots in at that time. If they didn't have their ballots, if they wanted to check to see where they were on the voters list, we would take the equipment with us that we could process a ballot for them at that time. They would have the opportunity to go and fill out their ballot and hand it in at that time as well.
Okay, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Malash?
Through you, Your Worship. Cheryl, actually, I was going to bring that up. I would like to see some kind of information polling station type thing set up in McGregor as well. There's a lot of residents there that are confined to that area, don't have vehicles to drive. A lot of elderly people in Luciers Estates that wouldn't be able to get out. And we may, like Bill's just saying right now behind me here, we could promote it in the community to make sure people do come out. And I think we'd get a lot more people out. So at those sessions, let's say people did throw out their mailing vote, thought they were just an advertisement. Can they at those sessions, when they come for information, somehow get a new mailing vote?
A vote by ballot, yes, they could. What we would do is when the ballots come in, we have scanners and automatically take someone off. So they would come in and tell us they hadn't received their ballot. We would check that, just like we would when they came into the office here, and we would be able to produce a ballot for them at that time.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think that would be wonderful if we could set something up in the out communities from Essex Center. Thank you.
Anyone else? Sherry?
Just like to thank Cheryl and her team for having that discussion. Sounds like a little mobile satellite polling station, so I think that's a good compromise, and I think it's financially feasible, and I think with logistics, I think it's something that your team is prepared to take on, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okie dokie. We've taken care of the resolution. Now we are looking for someone to make a motion for adjournment. Oh, no. I missed something. Begin. I thought you dealt with that.
First, discuss the 2014
Oh, yeah, summer games. That's right. Sorry, council folks, I didn't write that down. Summer games, 2014, summer games.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. There's 7 councilors, so I want to make this in 7 minutes with 1 minute each. And so I'll hustle on with my 1 minute right now. The reality is that the summer games are going to cost the County of Essex, which obviously we're part and parcel of, $636,000 for a 3-day event, none which are in the town of Essex. Obviously, that event is, the assumption would be it's an 80% advantage to the city of Windsor, and the portion that the town would pay is not obviously directly, but my beliefs are it would come through a county tax that we pay into, and I think our portion of it was around $65,000 to $70,000. So with that being said, with nothing structured as it relates to the town of Essex in the summer games at this time, I'll be quite frank and right to the point. At this point, I don't support it, nor can I support it based on that. Now, if in the transition something was to happen, it rolls out to the advantage of the town of Essex where we can cash in it, as John had talked about his biking event that brought in $250,000 in our community, I'd be a fool not to support it. I would definitely support it, but at this place and time, absolutely not. Thank you.
Going right to Deputy Mayor because he has some, he has some information, we received at County Council here last week from Eddie Francis.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Yes, and then it was a request from Mayor Eddie Francis. They're looking for Essex to sponsor, or the County of Essex, to sponsor half of the, I think it's 1.272 million. Our share would be 636,000 at the county level. The portion that would be attributable to Town of Essex residents is about $66,000. Not that the Town of Essex would write the check, but that's the amount of taxes that would be collected from our residents towards this event. And Councillor Vokes, you're correct, there was nothing listed for the Town of Essex. They want to look at it as a regional, but your mayor and your deputy mayor have a vote as far as what we should be doing on that, as far as what direction we want to see it move, and obviously we do want to hear council's perspectives on it. And this is something that affects our residents, so thank you.
If I just might add to that, Deputy Mayor, thank you. There's still negotiations going on, between the county and the city of Windsor with respect to what possibly could be in Leamington, what possibly could be in Essex, what possibly could be in Amherstburg, and we're supposed to get a report back on that. So, I kind of agree with Councillor Vokes as to how much we should or shouldn't put in there. I think it is a regional thing and we should be part of it, but to what extent? And I'll be prepared to make my comments at that time when we find out who does get what and who doesn't get what. So that's where I stand on it. Thank you very much. Councillor Bowman.
Just briefly, I think anything that comes to the area is a positive for our area, and whether it's directly in the town of Essex or not is sort of here or there. But there is an economic spin-off to the area, and I think it's up to the county to decide what the benefit is to the county as a whole, and to make a decision at that point. But I support their participation. To what amount, that's what they have to work out.
Hey, Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't know at what point, there's not enough information. I know that I have the presentation right in front of me, actually, and it's pretty high level. I know there are some events that are indicated relative to triathlon and cycling that are coming through our areas. Now, specifically, what opportunity will we have through you, Your Worship and Deputy Mayor at County Council, to be able to lobby to get some of the events here? Whether they be cycling, I know there's some cycling, and I'd like to see them come through our area on County Road 50, if that's what we have. We do have some other facilities. I guess it comes down to how much can we lobby for that, number one, to do that. And the amount of money that our contribution is, looking at $66,000, I agree with Councillor Bowman that, we have to work together and build this region. And I'm hoping that we can be strong as a town of Essex and say, we'd like some here. If we're in, what is it? Maybe we can negotiate some discussion on the cycling tours that I know they're coming from Cedar Creek and some of those areas. And let's look at that. And maybe we can get that in there, because we're just missing the loop a little bit. That doesn't mean we shouldn't say no. We should work together and try to get that. What this does show us, though, and I want to mention this, is that events like this are very important to this region. What we do need to be starting to work on in our community and others along this South Shore area is we have to build accommodations. We have to build lodging, overnight stays. Once we do that, then this is a no-brainer. $66,000 would be a drop in the bucket compared to what you get economically. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to focus on. So if we start to shut the door on this right now completely, what are we really signaling? What we need to do is get to work and start to develop this, show this happening in the region, bring this to our region, work on this, trying to lobby this in terms of getting some events. And that shows the fact that the developers who are going to come to this area and build hotels see that this can work. That's what we want to do. So could this be an investment for the future? I think so. Is it an investment for the region? Absolutely. So Let's work hard to lobby for one of those events, and let's showcase it, and let's show what we can do. That may be the way to go, as opposed to saying, there's nothing here. It's about future development. That's what we have to look at, I think. And now that I really look at the numbers, it's not a lot of money for what we can get regionally. So from that point of view, I would like us to see to move forward. I've had a different opinion earlier. I've had a lot of discussions on it, and I know that one of the areas we have to do is build on that overnight accommodations. That's the focus, and then we can really be in the game. So I would like to see us try to work that, but get some of the event, or an event here at least.
Councillor Scott?
Yeah, I think I echo some of the sentiments of Morley and Bill. I do support it too. I don't know about the numbers about that breakdown, because that seems heavy if we're not having an event. But the fact is, we are listed as a potential for cycling and triathlon. I think we need to make a strong case if we're going to support this. We're getting an event, or not supporting it. I think that's the only way we can do it. But I do see, and I said this when Deputy Malash initially kind of threw that out there for us, how do we feel about this, which I respect that. Thank you. I said it's the tertiary benefits that we'll get. These people, these athletes, and we're producing world-class athletes, world-class duathletes from our town, by the way, and people know who they are. It's the indirect benefit of the people that are staying, what they'll be visiting. They'll be visiting the wineries in Essex. They'll be visiting the conservation areas in our town, in our area. That's generally what happens in the past when people come here. So for that, I support it. And yeah, we have to do things regionally. And the same, anecdote where I told a trail doesn't end at a certain town, we have to support this wholeheartedly. But I think we need to stand up strong and say to Windsor and the organizers that we have to be guaranteed at least one signature event. Hopefully, it's the triathlon. That's a big deal, because it'll be world-class triathletes. That's where I would say to the mayor and the deputy mayor, that's where make Essex case for that. Say, yes, with the support of that, council would buy in contingent on this.
Thank you, sir. Sherry, comments?
Great comments from everybody here. I don't know if I support the 50%, but I support sports tourism going forward. I think Councillor Scott has a lot of great ideas. Maybe Councillor Scott could do a little cycling event for us here. Anytime there's a pro event, maybe we could pair off and do an amateur event throughout Essex, whatever that looks like. I think we're going to have to get our bang for our buck out of this, but we're not going to get that by sitting here. We're going to have to work hard to lobby them and to get an event here. So I trust your decision, and thank you for asking us.
Okay, we go back to Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, Council, for, giving the opportunity to briefly speak to this, but I want to go on the record and make sure that it's clear that as a result of myself raising it, I think it's clear that at this place in time, unless Essex is an opportunist for an event, it's questionable whether or not I support it. So, and again, I think that's probably the vast majority of the opinion of council. So I know we're under good leadership in Ron, Mayor McDermott, and Deputy Mayor Malash at a county level. So thank you very much all for your time. I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Okay. Yeah, good. And supported by Mr. Bowman. But just before I let you go, don't we have something, is it this week we have, the Chili Fest and everything in our town? Yeah, it's Thursday. So just if you want to taste a dozen or more, 20 kinds of chili, 12 o'clock, 12 till 2:30 at the Community Center, the Twin Pad Arena, the Sheen Room, okay? And if you want to put in a chili, there's first, second, and third prizes. Doesn't cost you a penny to put it in. So, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.